Matthews Band had already made impact.
Dave Matthews Band was taking off right sort of as we were entering college, and John Alasia connected us with the Red Light guys, and a sweet, wonderful man named Chris Tetzelli took us on as management client and sort of shepherded us through that process.
And so while you're in college, this is happening.
Yeah, we were out gigging on weekends a lot, and we put out two of our albums while we were in college, and selling them out of the back of our of our dorm rooms and doing it.
Well, were you famous on campus as the musician?
I don't know. No, nobody's famous at Princeton. The nuclear physicists are famous at Princeton, but we had a good thing going where we could go play to a couple hundred people in most of the major towns on the East Coast, and we ended up when we graduated playing a lot of schools sort of west and almost every state we played in, and so we picked up a little following. It was great.
And did you enjoy it?
I loved it.
And you loved the road and everything.
I loved everything about it. I mean, what's wrong with touring around with your best friend and meeting people? And an underappreciated thing about gigging is you get to see all parts of the country. You get to meet people in the middle of Utah. You get to go play pulled pork barbecue at the University of Western Alabama, and you understand how the sort of cultures match up and how they flow, and driving it is so important because when you fly in, you don't really see how not only the sort of topography changes as you drive across the land, but the people change and sort of how they flow and how those cultures pass. And so it was a great learning experience for me, sort of consistent with understanding how people of all these different backgrounds get together to make a moment.
Well, it's fascinating you say that, because in light of the 2016 election, you're reading the mainstream media and you realize other than the people on the opinion page, they don't interface with any of these people. All day long, if I'm writing about politics, I'm hearing from people across the spectrum. So when you go to these places, you learn something that a lot of the bloviators on television and in print really have no idea of.
Yeah, I mean, look, Zuckerberg took a lot of shit for traveling state to state, but if you don't go and spend your time there and dig in, I don't know how I don't know how you can pretend to understand who people are, whether you live in Alabama and you don't go to Los Angeles, or you live in Los Angeles and you don't go to Alabama. It sort of creates the same set of issues.
So you're pursuing the dream in your mind. You're going to hang in there as long as it takes to make it, or what? Yeah,
we're going to hang in there as long as it takes, and keep writing songs and keep playing. And we did it for a couple years. We ended up making 5 albums. But there's a time when he and I are driving down the back roads of Iowa, headed to a gig in the fall, about this time of year. It's gorgeous in Iowa. Everything turns golden. And we're headed to a gig, and he turns to me, hours on the road where we don't say shit to each other. You're driving an SUV or whatever. And he turns to me and goes, "My dad's going to kill me if I don't go to grad school." I was like, oh, God, I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life. And one thing led to another. We pivoted. We kept playing for a couple years after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I picked up with a startup in San Francisco.
But before you do that, as I said, I didn't know until this conversation that the guy is now a bluegrass expert. So what did he go to graduate school in?
So he went to get his PhD in music, and so he went to University of Chicago, and while he was at University of Chicago, I was at the startup that I'll tell you about, and we would still hop on the plane and fly to Philadelphia and play shows. Absolutely, and keep doing it.
So you're at this startup. Tell me about that.
It was like Nielsen is to consumer packaged goods. This company was to wireless mobile data, and so it was the first company that really was helping the CEO and CMO of AT&T or Verizon measure their business and make decisions based on that.
But how did you hook up with this company?
I had a friend who was starting it in San Francisco, and I looked at what they were doing, and it looked boring as hell. It looked awful. But I looked at it and said, there's a massive internet boom happening in San Francisco right now. I'm going to learn a ton, and I'm going to go for it. And I don't know if this is going to be 2 months or 2 decades, but I'm going to go for it. And
just stopping for a second, you met your wife in Princeton.